Hi everyone, Dave here from Make Brothers Transformers Out the Moon, and I am doing another toy unboxing today. Actually, I'm going to do two toy unboxings. We're going to take a look at the latest releases of the Transformers Mattel crossover, Transformers Hot Wheel toys. We have GT Scorcher, which is the latest toy to come out, and El Segundo Coupe. Now, El Segundo Coupe arrived for me last week, and GT Scorcher arrived yesterday, which was July 16th. These are the fourth and fifth releases of Hot Wheels. Previously, there is Twin Mill Blue Red, and there is the awesome looking Bone Shaker. Now, I really like these guys. They just remind me of kind of like almost like G2 Aqua Speeder, not Aqua Speeder, what were they called? Accelerator style toys. Just nice toys. Good robot modes, good car modes, fun transformations, not that complicated. Let's take another look.
Transformers at the moon. Fantastic.
So we're going to start off actually with El Segundo Coupe, who really needs a different name. I may just call him Bob or something for this review. So here he is in his bubble packaging with both the. It's always funny to me. Mattel on the Transformers box just seems bizarre. Mattel, Hot Wheels, Transformers on the front, and then on the back. I'm guessing that was probably by Marcelo Mattia. He does a lot of the box art out. Pretty awesome looking with the glowing eyes as well on the top within here, and then a fantastic car mode on the back, and obviously showing that look. Even the blacked up picture here reminds me of that G2, people call it 1.5, but the European G2 looks, or the US G2 ones with those guys like Hot Ride and stuff. There's a bit of reflection on my camera here, but he is a pretty sweet looking car, just tied in by the two ties on the side. Again, there's no profile information, which is a shame, but kind of cool in some ways because it means you can basically make them up to be whoever you want them to be. It's kind of what happened with some of the Transformers back in the day, but they would still come with profile cards you could base it off of. And then this is the latest release. This is GT Scorcher. Maybe a little bit of a better name than the others. Not sure why we just went with the cars and not with Twin Mill and Bone Shaker from the first wave of these. Now these guys also have the Hot Wheels logo a little bit more prominent on them. He's got it on his back and he also has it on his side. Again, take a look at that artwork on here with a little smirk on his face. And the double-bladed weapon at the back. So he is 5 inches tall, it claims, 12.25 centimeters, exactly the same as the measurements on El Segundo Coupe. Now, El Segundo is actually fairly near to where we live, about 60 miles away. It's just south of Los Angeles Airport. It's the town of El Segundo, and El Segundo is actually where Mattel at their head office. And they have a store in their head office. I've actually been to that. Got a little discount code for the store. And then where I live, just east of LA, I say just east, 60 miles east of LA. There's also another Mattel office, about 30-40 minute drive from me, where they have a discounted store on site. You can go in and buy toys, generally after they've been at the store for a while, so they go back when they're on discount. They sell Mattel, Master Universe, various other brands that they have. I've been there a few times with my daughter. So he's out of the packaging. I've done a fairly good job in cutting one out. Put them down here. And here he is in a little plastic bubble with a cardboard. Here's the instructions. And then here's color mode. Now he's looking really nice. I think these are probably the best transforming cars since Car Robots. Um, it would be pretty awesome if they were done on the same scale as the Car Brothers. It does remind me a bit of Sideways or Sideburn. Sorry. Mainly just because he's blue, and I've just lost one of his weapons somewhere. Oh, it's still over here. Small little missile. Let's just balance that on the keyboard. So I'll try and see if I can straighten this part up. Here is El Segundo Coupe. Look at that paintwork. You can see a really small Hot Wheel symbol under here. Lovely gold rims as well. Again, another Hot Wheels logo on the top, on the hood or the bonnet. The 6 doesn't quite line up on that side. It lines up better on that side. This side, the 8's a bit higher. And then the back underneath. Pretty solid looking. And actually, he does have that weapon, which they show on the back of the box for him. And then two little holes underneath. Rolls pretty well. Now, I know some people were a little disappointed when these came out that they weren't regular Hot Wheels size, like sort of the Transforming Prime. But this is a nice size toy. I think it's like kind of we class as basic. I guess that's what it is now. But it's big enough to get detail, but not too big that it's away. So maybe if it had been like a deluxe size, the same size as the Car Brothers, that would have been really awesome. Could have played with him on Magnus or Ultra Magnus from Rid. Here's his instructions. Kind of the standard, almost like dark mode if you like, for a screen. In here, fairly straightforward to go through. Again, as always, unfortunately, no profile, just 17 steps. And then his weapons can also be put on as his nitrate boost in car mode, which is kind of pretty cool. It looks like it's going to be a pretty straightforward type of transformation. Going by the instruction booklet here. Starts off by wanting to pop off this black bit from the bottom. Now that's fairly tight for me. Well, there we go. Flying down onto the floor for his weapons. And then it's going to be just sort of putting the panels off and transforming him from here. So I've popped off the doors, which I held on to this peg. You're meant to just be able to lift those arms out, but it is very, very stiff at first. So what you can do, so mine are popped off, just wiggle the sides of the bonnet or the hood, and then you can get that to go looser. Then you can pop his arms out. Now, I'm pretty sure that's going to loosen up later on, but they are really stiff joints. Even just like bending his arm, it's really stiff, which is kind of nice, but a little worrying that the doors just kind of popped off and flew off out of the way. Obviously, they are designed to just come off as well because you can just clip them back on to the side. Just doesn't make the most elegant video seeing the doors just kind of like flying off. And then the bonnet or the hood will fold down to reveal his head. Now, his head reminds me of Jaguar, if you like, from the Breast Force. The little ears at the top, kind of cat ear style, if you like. And then the rest of the roof lifts up on a little pivot underneath. Yes. And we're going to come around to the legs. So these are going to unfold if I can get my fingers in here. He says they'll unfold out. And then we're going to do a standard Transformers bend. And it looks like it's going to be a rotate as well. So we'll rotate these around. And his feet are, I don't know if I can tell, in the base here. A little bit hard to tell because it's blue on blue. But they are inside his knees. Which is going to be a little tricky, I think, to get out. Now his kneecaps fold around from the base. On here. And then we're meant to be able to just fold that out. Now, that is, again, quite tricky to get behind. There you go. Actually, just do it a few times. And then it comes down loose. And then we can fold up. Well, gets practice. Fold up the white part, they're actually kind of floppy. There you go. That's probably better. Make it flop all the way down. Does his knees rotate all the way through? Because I don't think it does. I think that knee is meant to go closed in. Otherwise, you can't close it off. And then his feet can close up within here. Looks a little bit like, who's the guy from Chase? That's what it reminds me of, Chase. Fold the bonnet down, turn around the back, and fold the back down within here. And then we're going to just rotate the arms through. Now, I'm interested in seeing how. So this again just shows the arms flipping, or the hands flipping out from the sides, which you should be able to do, but I think you can do it. I thought it was going to catch on that blue bit like that. So it's kind of easier when that comes off because you can get your thumb in it a little bit more. But there is a little catch on the wrist to put it out as well. That's going to be very annoying if that side piece is just going to fall off all the time. But yeah, here he is in real mode. Kind of similar to, in some ways, to Combiner Wars Stunticon transformation. Probably a similar size actually to a Combiner Wars toy. Very white and black police car style look in robot mode with the blue body. Now I thought his eyes would have shown up more. I can't see any light piping on the head. Maybe a little bit on the top. Bit dark in my room. So his eyes are very dark. So that's a shame. Let me hold up to the light. I know there is light piping on his eyes. They do go blue, but very hard to see in this image, which is a shame. General shoulder rotation, slight tilt at the shoulder because of the joint, full rotation on the elbow, and that very stiff bend we mentioned earlier on. And obviously the wrists can fold in and out as well. These blue panels just very loose and fly off all the time. Waist stiff, a little bit of a twist. You can twist all the way around. Just be careful because it rubs on the back. You can do the splits. Knee bend is a little bit limited. You can click through, so at least you can get it at that 90-degree angle. It does have modern day ankle tilts as well for posing and full range of movement forward. Again, back is limited by that backpack to go fully back, but you can still put him in the famous Maz running pose. His weapon, almost like a cow prod or a musical fork. Bing. Comes through to form a little thruster gun that he can hold in here. I'm going to think of it probably still as a tuning fork. But there you go. There he is. His wrists are a little loose. His elbows are very tight. You can see how much that flops around. And obviously the panels on the doors do fly off pretty easily. But that is El Segundo Coupe. He's pretty nice. I really like the Hot Wheels toys. I've got the other two on the shelf, 3 on the shelf actually in car mode. I didn't realise these don't come out until I think 6 they said September in the UK. I got mine from Hasbro Pulse here in the US, so they've come pretty quickly. Yeah, he is pretty cool. El Segundo Coupe needs a new name. Just very long and very to the point. I'm assuming it's type of car. I don't know. He is a coupe, but it was a Porsche. Don't know. So here we go. Let's take a look at his counterpart, GT Scorcher. Now, again, these guys, I don't think they are all Decepticons. Think look to see if he had a badge. Or the other guy had a badge. Have a look through. Just Transformers crossovers. The cool thing with that is basically what Hasbro were doing, creating some nice looking car Transformers based on, I believe, at least real cars. Right? If they're not based on real cars, then at least they are more realistic looking than some of the standard cars that come through. So it does kind of harken back 26 years to Car Robots Robots in Disguise, as it was known in the West, with the Car Brothers, where you get a nice car style toy. Here are GT Scorchers. Right, actually, GT Scorcher also might be a bit. Was GT Skids? Skidsy? From Rid, the recolor of Mirage. Kind of that name where it doesn't really kind of like, you think, it's not really a great name in his car mode. First impression is Tech Drag Strip. Isn't really anything like him, but kind of has that detail for it. So again, the giant Hot Wheels sign on the side. The first three do have the Hot Wheels sign. These guys are a lot more blatant with it. Some more branding on the front. His number 8 and this time silver alloys going through. He has the wing on the front and the wing on the back, which is also once again popped off. So that, like the doors, that's annoying, Hasbro. That's not great build quality. That's just going to fly off all the time. But he is an Autobot. He's got a small Autobot logo on the front. Quite a lot of clear orange plastic on this side. His Hot Wheels logo looks a little neater maybe than the writing on the other side. And then a bit of a boring back. There is the top with another Hot Wheels logo on the front and the back. A lot of orange clear plastic. And then underneath. But yeah. Wheels don't roll as well as Hot Wheels toys do when they roll it through. Take a look at the instructions. El Segundo Coupe was 17. Let's see what this guy is like. So, again, dark mode style instructions, just a single panel. So here he is on the front, and he's actually 23 steps, so more complicated on here. His combo makes me think that he should have been at the Decepticon to go with Bone Shaker. I guess Drift, probably the nearest combo to him. Let's see how much of this I can do in one take without it popping off. Sorry, so we're going to separate at the back, and I'm going to I could have just put it just transformed him generally, but I'm going to look through the instructions just because it's the first time. I want to make sure that I get it right and to show you kind of how it flows. So the back folds down, and then it has that kind of double jointed knee style joint to straighten it out to form his legs later on. And I'll leave it off. I'll come up later on. Gonna turn him over to the front. We're gonna open him up to the sides. Now his red does make him look a little bit more cheaper or a knockoff when you compare it to Segundo Coupe. The blue looks better quality than the red. I don't know what it is. Something about it. Red, blue, and black looks nice. Red and grey just makes me think Chinese knockoff. And it's a type of red as well. It's not. I mean, he's got really nice paint apps, but there's just something about it. I'm instantly like, yeah, you go to the back of the shelf, and El Segundo is gonna sit at the front. Maybe it's just me. There's something about it which makes me think that. The scoop will fold up, and then it looks like the whole thing should fold down. I'm just gonna flip around up into here. We'll come and focus down a little bit more on the feet after that. Once he's up in robot mode. So looking back at the feet, his feet are at the bottom position. So they look like they're quite small feet in here. Can we get his feet to fold down is the question. There's a little joint under there. So let's push it down and then it's going to basically straighten that joint out. That will allow you to then be able to close his legs up. Well, that's quite a nice click. Yeah, that's a good click sound. That completes page 1 of his transformation mode. Then we're going to just rotate his feet around to come through. And actually, it looks like there's a little clip on the front of his foot to clip his foot in to keep it still as well. Then we can guess what's going to happen on here. This is going to fold down and unveil his head with his arms around. The wheels on the shoulder remind me of Hot Rider. I believe it is from the Accelerators, the green guy. Instant flashbacks or back toy. That was what, 92, 93? Hot Riders with that lovely pink windshield. If you're in, I think, was it pink windshield in Europe and then a different color if you were in the US for the Accelerators. Really underappreciated toys. Well, I love Rapido. Rapido is similar color red to him. And then his wheels can fold forward. Can they fold to the side? Oh, they can. Oh, nice. In fact, they do fold to the side. That's pretty cool. I've not seen that before on a transformer. That's pretty. So this is basically his robot mode, other than the weapon. So red, orange, black, and silver. A little bit more kibble on the back. And let's see, we get his head. Again, you can't really see the head. It has the orange eyes on it. Just go up my light. Actually, really nice light piping on the eyes. It flows through the orange on here and then through the eyes. So actually, if you're a light piping fan, really good eyes. And there's bound to be some amazing photographs of him with the light piping on here later on. His weapon is his spoiler at the back, the beast which keeps flying off for me. With his little gun here. There's actually meant to be 2 pieces to this, because this forms his blade. This is one. I can't see where his second blade is. They are showing it as being in the back. So under here, that's where his second blade is, and then that goes on the bottom. Probably actually should probably go on the top, I guess, but that forms his double-bladed martial arts style weapon. So this is, what was his name? GT Scorcher. Full rotation on the arms. Yeah, rotating head. Shoulders kind of move a bit more than El Segundo. Bending and rotating elbows, and obviously little wrist flick through as well. Twisting of the waist, ab crunch, legs obviously to the side, full split motion, forward motion, backwards motion limited because of the backpack. You'd have to angle that up for a side pop. So if you get in the middle, you can go through. Knee, not quite 90-degree angle, but I believe it has a double knee joint in here, so you can get a little bit of a double bend to the side. Thigh swivel and a bit of an ankle rotation, not as much as the other guy, as El Segundo. Actually, that double jointed knee is actually pretty nice because can't get a complete bend, but at least you get a bit more of an angle on a jumping pose. So this is GT Scorcher and El Segundo Coupe. This guy is the Hot Wheels crossover number 4, Hot Wheels crossover number 5, released in July 2026. Very nice. Of these two, El Segundo Coupe, I think it's a lot better. I like the paint apps, lighter in colour. I prefer its car mode. This guy, it's the red. I'll be honest with you. If it was a darker red, I think he'd look better. I think he should be a Decepticon, not an Autobot. Both of them, I think, could do a bit better on the head because it is quite dark, but they do have light piping for that. El Segundo wins. I think he just looks far nice, reminds me of Chase, which is a shame. He has a pretty cool car mode. I think maybe he would have been better in yellow. It's just that red. He is nice, but the red, to me at least, has a KO feel. Not KO feel, he feels good quality. A KO look. It's just the shade of the red. Not a fan of that. We'll see how it goes. Twin wheel. The second twin wheel was a red. He was a darker red. So I think is why. Again, maybe a different colour head would have been better. But are you getting these guys? Have you already got these guys? Are you waiting for these guys? Let us know in the comments. Have you got the other Hot Wheels toys? Did you manage to get the primes? I couldn't get those, so I've just got the other 5. I'll continue to get these guys. I know they don't have any lore with them, any characters, but they're pretty cool. My daughter likes playing with them because they're cars. They're fairly simple to transform. She can roll them around. So they do their job. So awesome. This is, once again, Transformers X Hot Wheels, Hasbro and Mattel collab, Transformers Hot Wheels toys, El Segundo Coupe, GT Scorcher, Hot Wheels toys number 3, no, number 4, and number 5. Let's see who else comes out later on in the year, and I'll say goodbye.
Transformers at the moon. Fantastic.